every single week there's an upset, but it isn't, a 7-point upset. It's not even a 10-point upset. These are 14, 15, 17-point underdogs winning the game on the field. And how do you pick those?
Well, I'm starting to look at dogs because I think that some of the quality of these wins on certain teams, I think is really overstated. Like if you look at an Indiana, and I'm not saying that because I'm an Ohio State fan, but if you just look at Indiana's body of work this season, or even if you look at Penn State, it could go to the opposite. I think Indiana's 4-0 is. I don't think they've really played as great of teams. I mean, their big win was against what was then ranked number 8, Penn State. But really, they haven't played a ton of great teams. And then you look at Penn State, and I think they're a much better team than what's on the field right now. So this week coming up, I like dogs, and there's just a lot of big spreads. And I say, what do you say? Not with my money.
That's it. Not with my money.
Not with my money. Even Ohio State, at 20.5 points, I just don't think they haven't proven to me that they're going to beat a team like this by 20.5. But you're going to look at Clemson this week, and that spread is over 30. Bama, the spread is over 30. So I just stay away from those high price games, and I'm looking for value and taking some closer games, less points, where I think the team has an opportunity to win outright. I love UCF this week. I think that Cincinnati is they're playing well, they're undefeated, they have a top defense in the country, but you got to ask yourself in that situation, against who? So you look at UCF and the quarterback play and that passing game and how many points they can actually put up. Does that Cincinnati offense really live up to what the statistics have shown when they're playing from behind, or when they're playing against a team that could score in 7.3 seconds? So I'm looking for the value, and I'm looking for the dogs, at least in this week. There's just too many big spreads. I love Florida, but if they win by 28, that's not the same as the 31 spread. So that game now becomes a walk away to me.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's the other thing. Don't get me wrong. We preach live action. We do it on the show. And actually, your camera there, your TV is a little behind what I'm seeing. Yeah. So I'll keep it down. Yeah. There's nothing.
Well, I got the TV to the right.
Okay.
And so the camera, it comes through the Roku. So
I had
it's
a situation where I had to go downstairs, grab the remote, pause the game, talk to my wife for about a minute or so, turn the game back on and go back upstairs. And she goes, "What was that all about? Sweetie, you were ahead of me. And you were screaming before I was seeing the play, and it was just ruining the game for me." Plus, she was on the other team. I think it was during the World Series. But
so Chaz,
you can't just do that. You can't sit around. And even in those big spreads, like you said, if you win by 28, you got to feel pretty good about yourself. But if you're given 30.5, it don't do me any good.
No, and if I wanted to play that game, if I wanted to play Florida, or I wanted to play Bama or Ohio State even, I would look to the team over under and find it that way, rather than trying to get them to win by 30. How about just watch the game and see if they're going to go over 24 points in the first half? This game that we're watching right now, I think it's important to mention the spread now for the first half is 7.5. And
so no, it's time. We're going to officially stop what we're doing. We're not going to be talking about anything in the future. We're going to go to the present, because really all live action is the present. So what happened is Seattle, was that the opening drive for Seattle?
That was the opening drive for Seattle, and bigger, even bigger than the first half being 7.5. I'm looking at a plus 180 payout at 6.5, getting 6.5 for Zona. So that's my play right there. I'm on the Zona there, and even at a minus 135, I'm still taking that plus 7.5 for the first half. This Vegas has this at a 3-point game, so there's not going to be any 7.5 point or 6.5 point wins.
All right, so let's see here. I got a lot of options. I got Arizona from plus 3.5 up to plus 9.5. And when I'm doing live action, what I'm looking for is the yin and the yang you can't be greedy. The yin and the yang of the point spread versus the vig, and that's the odds. Because you know what, at minus one, say minus 170, 7.5, minus 129, 6.5. Am I going to kick myself if it lands on 7, and for 40 points I lost instead of winning something? You know?
Yeah, but you got to ask yourself, is it going to happen? And again, 7.5. I would take it if it was plus 180, if it was minus 130. At minus 200, I wouldn't touch it. I mean, anything beyond minus 150, I wouldn't be playing it. But at minus 135, that's okay to me. But the main reason it's okay to me right now is because I love this first quarter plus 6.5. Seattle Zona hasn't had the ball, and I think that they're going to score, even if it's a field goal at that point. You got Zona. This is the number 1 offense going against the number 32 defense. So I think that's a great value right there. Plus
all right,
6.5.
so that's what we'll do then. I'm gonna what's that movie I like? The movie where it's Trading Places. Trading Places, where was it Billy Robinson? What's his name?
Billy.
He set the number on soybeans or whatever.
He did.
Trading. So I got plus 154. First quarter.
Cardinals Zona plus 6.5 first quarter.
Let's see. We'll see what happens. But it's kind of fun. We're betting live.
Yeah,
technically,
I love
your jurisdiction, this is not a gambling show. These are all for entertainment purposes only. Until you're cashing, All right, so we're going to bounce over to Muhammad. Muhammad, Saturday. Right. Actually, no, that's not true. We used to do our shows, as Wes knows, we would record them after we were off the radio. We record the podcast on Thursday. And we didn't come out till Friday, sometimes Saturday. So we didn't really talk about Friday. But technically, with college football, there are some opportunities on Fridays. All day Saturday, and hell, the last few weeks, Tuesday and Wednesday too. But what do you think about college football, Mohammed? You got any plays that are just jumping off, screaming at you?
Well, and I paid for it, I think, in week 5, but I've been fanboying Florida. Florida's been paying, nonstop. They're scoring points. North Carolina is a surprising one. They've got one of the top running backs. I think his name's Devontae Williams. I was telling Wesley about him, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. That guy is just a touchdown machine. But for this week, I'm a little hesitant. I'm looking at Ohio State 20 and a hook. And I know Wesley probably doesn't like that one, but that's a good one for me. And then Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is going to end up putting, they're a 3.5 or 5.5 favorite against Appalachian State. And that's the only 2 games I like so far. Not a good week for college, in my opinion. Not a good week for college.
Many times with those big spreads, Ohio State games, Clemson games, Alabama games, I'm betting the first half, and then if I'm losing at halftime, I'm doubling down on the second half. And golly gee, you don't lose both of those bets very often. Of course, if they're winning at halftime, you're not betting a big bet. But Alabama second half, Clemson when they're down, Ohio State when they're down, what they do is they make the team that led after 30 minutes pay for 30 minutes is what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, these teams, it's really, they probably don't make it on the first drive, and then you get them the ball back, and there you go. You've got points, and you go with the over. First quarter and first half have been paying phenomenal over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and we call him when because he was on the team that you mentioned earlier in the year. I think they finally didn't cover Coastal Carolina, but they're your personal ATM machines when you could find them. Now, one of the things that I do is I live and breathe by ATS records, because what I do is, okay, when we put in the data for our Easy Sports data, I think this week, I want to say there were 112 teams, 66 games, 112 teams. Well, you can't really get a feel for 112 teams, but when you look at their against the spread records, and I use covers because covers will let me sort it, all of a sudden I got a half dozen teams that are covering every game, maybe 9 teams that are losing every game, because I don't care why I'm betting you. Sometimes I'm betting against you. I don't really like the other team. I just don't like you. It's really that simple. So, when you got games like that, now Appalachian State, they've got a pretty good football team. They've got a pretty good program. But, they're not very often going to get almost a touchdown.
No, it's rare. And Wesley said this earlier that they've got a running game that's probably as good as it gets against Coastal Carolina. That's all they've got at this point.
Yeah, and so we slide out of college football. Now, what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll make most of my plays on Friday for Saturday, and I break them down. I do it a little bit differently. I break it down in waves because I have I call it my Caliente system that we use when we go down the Caliente Sportsbook in Tijuana. They got sportsbooks all over Mexico. It's great because we did a cruise. We had 2 stops, I think Cabo and somewhere else, and both places I ended up at a Caliente's casino betting live on the games that were there. But what happens is you've got 4 games. I'll try to isolate 4 games at the 9 o'clock games out here. It's 9 o'clock, of course. The noon games, the 3 o'clock games, the 7 o'clock game, 5 o'clock. College football comes in waves and waves and waves. So I'll like to do that. And if I can find 4, then I'll bet the parlay 2. Small unit parlay, but it gets, plus 12.34 for $1, you get $12. And so, even if you throw a $10 4-teamer on there and you're betting $100 unit, it's like winning another game. So
Absolutely.
That's what I'll try to do. And then I'll pick the best bet from all. So I like my best bet at 9 o'clock, with my best bet at noon, with my best bet at 5, with my best bet at 7. Now, I have had weeks where that 7 o'clock game, I hedged it. And I said, you know what? I'm tired. I've been watching football now for 14 and a half hours. I really like San Jose State over Nevada, but I'm betting Nevada for $150, guaranteed myself $115 for $20 or $15, and I'm going to bed. And that's kind of how my Saturdays will sometimes wind down.
No, here we are, I think 11 o'clock is their start times. And just like you said, they come at waves, and you find 2 games at the 11 o'clock round, and you find another 2 at the 3 o'clock. And by the end, you're probably just watching 1 game, maybe 2. And they just keep paying. And I double down and double down and just double down. And it turns into a great day. And Sundays is where it gets tricky.
When you're winning, no doubt, when you're winning, it is a great day. Of course, you know what? We all have days where we're not winning, and that'll be part of our sports betting lessons as we go forward. You have to accept the fact that it's just like when you grab a racing form. If you've ever been to the horse races, some days you just aren't reading the form right, whatever it's the track, whatever it is. But you have to adjust to that, and you can't just assume. I had a guy on Facebook, I think it was, somebody else put a post out of an opinion, and the guy said that you should never do that. And I said, as soon as the word never came out of your mouth, you lost all credibility with me. Because A, you haven't been alive long enough to realize whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And B, in sports betting, never, ever say never. Because what you don't think will happen as soon as you say that. Oh, it can't come up red 15 times in a row? Yes, it can.
Jets winning outright. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's look at some NFL. We got a few minutes before we're going to hear some more opinions. So before we do that, let's talk some NFL. Now, tonight's game, let's see where we stand. We got 6 minutes left, and we're getting the ball back, right? All right.
So.
Wilson got sacked on 3rd and 2. Oh,
and we're getting
there he goes. Go down.
We're getting the ball back with some pretty good field position too.
This is where it's so fun watching a game with my wife, who is such a kind soul that she'll root for, unless it's against her team, which is Baltimore now. She'll root for me, and she always screams, "Get him! Get him! Get him!" And every get him as the 6'7" defensive end is trying to get this little 5'10" guy in Arizona. Every get him goes up an octave. So it gets higher and higher and higher. It's pretty funny.